That's a them.
That's
That's
a
a them
them.
problem.
That's a
That's a
them
them
problem.
problem.
That's a them problem.
That's a them
That's a them
problem.
problem.
That's a them problem.
That's a them problem.
That's a them problem. That's a them problem.
Yeah, lol, lol. That's my Shakira impression. Hi guys, welcome back to That's a Them Problem, episode 7. Crazy how we are here. I feel like I'm just gonna repeat all the things that I said because, as the story would have it, myself and this guest that we have on the episode today tried to record this episode, and the audio was complete and utter booty ass back shit. And so this is our attempt at redoing the episode. We actually changed our topic because I don't think we would want to exhaust ourselves by talking about the same thing that spoke about in the first place. So consider that the lost episode of That's a Them Problem. I tried to salvage it, and I am not an actual sound engineer, guys, as it would seem. I just know how to fiddle with things until they sound pretty good, i.e. this podcast. Anyway, let's carry on, move along. Any hoosers anyways. How are we, team? How was your September? I feel like September is a really cool time because, people get sick because of the season change. We go from shivering our asses off to sweating our balls off. Don't you just love that transition? Other than that, how has been your September? How has been your mental? Before I even introduce this guest, I just want to talk about the fact that this guest and I actually wanted to talk, they wanted to talk about seasonal depression. And I was just not feeling it because I'm not in that seasonal depressed energy anymore. So I don't want to talk about being sad. I feel like this is also a good topic that we can jump on because, what can I say? It's a really cool topic. Anyway, back to the matter at hand, introducing our guest. Introducing the guest on the podcast. None other than my little brother Matthew. Woo!
Thank you so much. What's up? What's going on?
Yes, this is my little brother Matthew. He is my blood brother. Yes.
Wow, shocking.
Shocking, not really. What I said in the lost episode, I will repeat that if anyone hasn't met my brother, shame, because he's just a really cool person. Some would say he's a mini me. Guys, we grew up in the same household. Unfortunately, if we have the same mannerisms or whatever, it's because we share trauma. That's all.
So deep, but it's true.
That was supposed to be a joke and you were supposed to laugh along, so clearly that didn't transfer.
I mean, the gesture was appreciated. You went for it. You did something. Thanks.
Wow. Don't you have an encouraging brother like me? Today we're going to talk about the icons that raised us, guys. Cartoon Network. Firstly, let's just say that the last episode we spoke about animation as a whole. But I feel like it would be easier to hone in on the idea of Cartoon Network, especially I think the Cartoon Network that I watched and the Cartoon Network that he jumped on 4 years later. As much as it was the same kind of aesthetic, it was the black and white boxes that kind of morphed into teeth at the end of every show. Obviously he saw that, but then he also saw the transition of newer shows, what was that one with the chickens? Chopsucky Chooks.
Oh, that one. I barely remember that one.
I feel like you watched that a lot though.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I watched it a lot. That's the thing. That specific one, no.
Crazy. Well, clearly my memory is fucked. But anyway.
I mean, maybe you caught me one time. It was like, oh, I was watching something, and it's like, oh, look.
I just remember hating it when you were watching it because I hate that type of animation again. Just doesn't sit well with my soul.
Yeah, it isn't great at all. So I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a big fan of that. I was more a fan of Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
So
that one slapped.
I just want to make this a preface to anyone that watched and was dedicated to Cartoon Network as a kid. If you were into The Misadventures of Flapjack, if you were into Courage the Cowardly Dog,
Billy and
Mandy. Firstly, I'm going to give you a list of what you are. Number 1, you have existential crises every other day. Number 1. Number 2, you tear your ass up at dark humor. You will laugh at something extremely dark because I feel like that's how we were conditioned as kids to laugh at really obscure things, Also, I would say that you are a fan of the macabre. You like looking at some weird and dark shit, not because you like it, but because you're intrigued with it. I feel like I also border that line because I watched all these things. Also, Evil Con Carne.
Yeah, that one's also.
What was the full name of that?
The Evil Konkani.
I don't think that was the full name of that.
Pretty sure it's just Evil Konkani.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That's another one.
It's in the same universe.
What?
Evil Konkani.
The Insane Universe of Evil Con Carne.
No, it's in the same universe. Same.
Oh
author.
no, I know it's the same. Yeah, but I'm saying, what's the full name of Evil Con Carne?
I'm pretty sure it's just Evil Konkani.
For people who are not educated and or refined with the extended palette that we have, Evil Con Carne was again the same universe, the same what do they call it in the same multiverse? No,
I guess you could say multiverse.
It's what they use when they describe the DC universe in the same. When it's in the same. So it's the same universe. Okay, cool. So clearly, I'm too forward thinking for this slide.
Did you say fandom?
No, it's not. Never mind. We can just move on. Anyway, in the same universe as the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and basically, like, what I remember from it was there was like 3 characters. There was one that was like had a scar on his face. I don't remember his name was Scar.
I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. Could be hella wrong, but.
I mean, it gave Scar. Anyways, apparently his name was Scar.
He had that nose, yeah.
And he had a really big nose, and he had like one of his eyes wasn't working, and it had a huge scar through the eye.
Yeah.
Then he had Boris, the bear.
But that was also his host.
Yeah, so Boris the bear had like an attached
tank.
An attached tank, but could detach tank of a brain and a stomach, and the brain and the stomach could talk. I think Evil Con Carne was the actual brain.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. It was
yeah, so Evil Con Carne was the brain. Boris was the bear host, and what was the stomach's name?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't remember, and I'm not in the mood to Google anything.
All I know is that whenever he's talked, it would light up.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
And then there was the redheaded
with the glasses.
The scientist
yeah.
who was clumsy, but was also kind of in love with Boris. No, not with Boris, with Con Carne.
Yeah.
Anyway, crazy, weird, fantastical. What I wanted to ask is, what is your first memory of cartoons in general? If you're talking about Cartoon Network, like what was your first memories of Cartoon Network?
Very rehearsed, very initial. That's just Courage, pretty much.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That's just Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like all day, every day, it's Courage.
Do you remember the exact episode?
Specific episode that comes to mind. I mean, there's only one.
Return the Slab. Yeah, fully.
Yeah, no.
I think it's because all of us were traumatized as kids by that episode.
Also, the one with the fetus, You're Not Perfect. That one. If you haven't seen it, that one is just... It's ominous because it's like... It's the first time they boarded into that territory of animation. And it's like when Courage goes to sleep, he has like the red eyes and he's lying down and he's like... He goes to sleep. And then there's like that fetus that's like... You're not perfect. And
the CGI one.
Yes, that one.
Oh, bitch, that fucked me up as a kid. Because also, again, like you said, it was the first time that a cartoon, at least that we were watching on like broadcast TV, decided to transition from one state of like animation into another. And I think also the reason why it fucked us up is because that from like flat cartoon into almost like 3D CGI baby. Obviously, it fucks with the eye so much, so it seems so bizarre in this like world of Courage the Cowardly Dog, because you already assume it's gonna be like kind of fucked up. But now this shit has shape. Now this shit is like seems even closer to like the real thing, to like reality, than just it being a flat cartoon that we can like either be scared or laugh at, which I found was fucked up. There's this one episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog that I think is the most heartwarming. Like when I think about it, and when I know that the last time I watched it, which was a very long time ago, I cried. And even when I watched it for the first time as a young kid, like I cried. So basically, the episode is a giant squid. I feel like I've told you the story. I've told you this episode.
Probably.
I think it's still on YouTube if you look it up. But basically, like a giant squid from space.
Mm.
Because basically the squid's in space. Because apparently, like, space is like an ocean.
Mm.
Okay? So there's like giant whales and squids and shit. So imagine that, like, the like space is like actually
An
a
ocean,
sea.
yes,
Yeah.
as you
Okay.
explained before.
Cool. So now, yeah. But I'm explaining to the people that are listening. Anyway. So the squids, they produce the stars in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when they, like, are scared, they...
Emit celestial bodies and suns.
Yes,
And,
instead of ink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So there's these two little squids. They're like teenagers, basically. They fall in love, whatever. Then the femme squid is now pregnant with the little baby squids. But what happens is a giant space whale comes into the picture and starts basically sucking the squids. There's like a cluster of squids. What's a collective noun for squids?
Squids. No, you're not gonna get it from
Okay,
me.
let's not go into that anyway. But a collective noun of squids
That one, okay.
gets like almost like, think of like a wormhole. They get like sucked into like the whale. Okay?
Like Kirby.
Basically. But what happens is these two little squid lovers, right? The mask squid kind of like sacrifices himself to save the femme squid, and instead of the femme squid trying to like basically like swim away from this space whale, they fall to earth in front of fucking Courage's house. Of course.
Plot.
And when they land, they obviously give birth to these little squid babies. But what happens is, like, they lay on top of the squid babies to protect them, so like they don't move. And obviously the whole plot is that like Courage tries to protect them and tries to like make sure that the babies are safe and whatever. But then the government gets involved. You know, the government guy with the really small legs but the big ass torso. So they find the squid and then they put this like big ass bubble over the squid, and basically Courage tries to like fuck that shit up so that the babies can get to the sky, so that they can make the next set of like stars. When I think about this story, it makes me all fuzzy inside because it's such a beautiful story. But basically, like, Courage ends up doing that, and the squids like float up. The baby squids float up to the sky, and then the femme mother squid like is laying on the floor, and like she starts crying because she's so happy that like her baby's made it up to the sky and whatever. And she turns into like this beautiful green forest in the middle of nowhere. Because remember, like, Courage lives in the middle of fucking nowhere with no grass, no vegetation, nothing, and the squid just turns into the most beautiful forest, like, and dies that way. Wow.
Death through creation. Mad.
It's a beautiful story and it's very profound. I feel like if you're into that shit, it gave very Midnight Gospel before Midnight Gospel was a thing without the podcast like overlapping like the main storyline. Do you know what I mean? It's very that.
Purely visual as most. Yeah.
Yes, very that.
As Courage is with sound effects that he says and sometimes use of words.
Yeah.
But mostly it's just
Yeah. I also want to talk about Ed and Eddie.
Okay. Talk about Ed and Eddie. What do you want to talk about? Especially Plank. You want to talk about Jimmy's character?
Plank was an icon.
Of course, yes.
Plank had the looks. Plank had the sass. Plank was the icon.
He was the one, yeah.
He was the one. I really identify with Double D. I've always identified with Double D. Because tell me something for 10 marks. I don't know why 10 marks, but it seems a lot, but just do it.
Alright.
Is Double D a man? Oh, a woman?
You see,
This is a gender question, kids.
This is a gender question. Well, it really depends who you ask, and it depends on the situation. Is gender even up for the spectrum to the way he plays his character, or their character, should I say?
Well, I would say that sometimes their gender performance was very masculine, and you would be like, oh, this is a little boy. But at the same time, there would be moments where I'm like, these mannerisms seems very femme. The way that people are approaching them is very feminine. Like the way that you would treat. This is why, guys, we're gonna have another gender conversation. But good, because Ed and Eddie, this is how my brain broke as a kid. basically it's this thing of like, your gender performance determines how people are going to treat you.
And then we spiraled into...
Okay, so we agree that Double D is gender fluid then.
Because the thing is, the interpretation is that they're all three boys. But the thing is, like, at the same time, the portrayal of the character is more of an emotion than it is a gender. Or it's more of an idea in terms of a gender. Because when you look at Ed, you can't really be like, okay, I guess for plot reasons, they may be written as a guy, but who's to really say what they really fit into if you had to really analyze their character?
True.
Besides being the most competent and most logical and rational of all the other Eds, because Ed, short Ed, is just obsessed with getting cash and basically getting rich.
True.
And has a fixation over his brother.
True.
Who does not give a fuck about him.
And then Double D is the feminine stem.
Very logical, very consulting plans, doing all the calculations.
Also, Pern, you can't tell me that Jimmy and Sarah was not the gay corner of Ed and Eddie.
I mean, yeah. True.
Which makes sense as to why Sarah had a crush on Double D at times, because Double D was getting gender fluid, like interesting feminine stem babes situation. I mean, protecting the fragile twink. Sarah!
Nah, Ed used to get fucked up though. Told Ed. He used to get fucked up by Sarah. Nobody was also a dumbass though.
But Ed was really the comic relief. Like, he kept everything together.
He's the hungry, funny, dumb character. That's what he is.
Yes. Do you know the cartoon? I don't know what the fuck the whole thing is called, but it's something Juniper Lee.
Juniper Lee though.
Juniper Lee.
No, you're just asking me. I don't know if it's the whole one, but you're asking me about Juniper Lee though.
Yes, I'm asking about Juniper Lee.
Yes, we know Juniper Lee.
What's Juniper Lee?
Bro, she has the green top with the jeans, bro, with the fucking streak in her hair. What do you mean?
Yeah, okay,
Juniper
you
Lee.
told me what she looks like, but like, what's the whole thing about? What's the plot, motherfucker?
Oh, I can't tell you about that.
Oh, so you only know the icon, but you don't know
it's-
the icon story.
No, I don't remember the story because I haven't revisited Juniper Lee.
Okay, let me tell you for you and the person that's listening to this. Juniper Lee. Also, this is a question for the people that are going to be listening on Spotify, because obviously I put questions at the bottom of the episodes at all, like every week. Firstly, have you watched the something somethings of Juniper Lee? I'm going to say the something somethings because I'll fix it in the question. And what was your favorite character? Now I'm going to get into the explanation. So, the something somethings of Juniper Lee. The something somethings of Juniper Lee was basically this teenage like fighter hero who has this like superpower of seeing imaginary monsters. But these imaginary monsters are not seen by like quote unquote mortals, but they still have the effects of fucking up the world, like real quote unquote monsters essentially. So you can't see them, but you'll see the damage that they do.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the goggles on. It's a very like meta esoteric type of thing. But basically, if you are not chosen to have the goggles on, you can't see these monsters and you can't fight these monsters. But normal people can see the destruction of these monsters. Fine. Juniper Lee is the only one in her family that can see these monsters. However, her grandmother, who is also like a superhero fighter type thing, she can see these monsters, so she's basically a guide to Juniper. And also Juniper's little brother, like basically baby little brother, like just popped out the womb, only a year old type things. He can also see like monsters. So sometimes when she has to babysit the baby can also say like indicate that there's a monster behind her or whatever. But there's also like this separation between good monsters and bad monsters, because obviously she can see everything that other people can't see. She can see like the other world. It's very esoteric and beautiful. Actually, I need to find a website that I can go watch Juniper Lee on. Guys, if you have any suggestions of where I can watch Juniper Lee, please send that bitch to me. PM that bitch to me.
You could probably go to Internet Archives actually, because you can just download the whole zip file and it'll be there. Depends on if they have it though.
So like Pirate Bay?
I wasn't suggesting Pirate Bay, but if you want to go use Pirate Bay, then do you, man?
What would you say is a lesson you've learned from any Cartoon Network like show?
Any Cartoon Network show.
Pern, please can we talk about Dexter's Lab?
What are you gonna talk about Dexter's Lab? What
Wasn't it banging?
from him do fromage?
Omelette du fromage?
Omelette du fromage.
What the fuck did you say?
I said fromage. Oh God, I don't even know what I said.
Omelette du fromage.
Say it again, Dexter.
Listen, I don't even know what to say besides the fact that, like, Dexter's Lab, the imagery lives in my mind rent-free all the time. All the time. Between the sound of, like, Dexter's mom's, like, feet on the floor and the intro, the ha, 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 ha at the beginning. Mesmerizing.
I mean, it's kind of like sinking into it, and then you also like the sinking of Dee Dee's feet, like when she's doing like the ballerina dance in the intro. So yeah, it's just like very like it's always like something to look at or something that you like hearing or interacting with every single second. There's no break or anything.
So you remember Fancy Dexter with the middle path and shit, with the Bible middle path?
No, I remember with like that one.
Where he's wearing the pink fluffy shirt with the white pants, and then he has his hair split in half.
That one, yeah.
So when I have a middle path and I'm around Bay, he says I look like that.
But I see that though. I don't know if you don't see
Both
it,
of
but,
y'all
like,
can literally go kiss a donkey's ass, bro.
No, but at the same time, like ass is ass. Okay, that's ass, but
That's a lot of ass.
that's ass. But I mean, kinda. You have to say that you can't see it. It's not what you're going for, and it's not what it is. But hey,
I don't know whether to be offended or like, take it as a compliment, considering that it's Dexter. What was Dexter's surname?
You couldn't tell me.
Laboratory?
No, that's horrible though.
I mean, no one is. Also, the villain Mandark.
Mandog, yeah.
What the? Let me not shit on someone's name. If your name is Mandark, like slay.
He was a simp, but anyway.
Mandark was a simp.
For Dee Dee, what do you mean?
Yes, Mandark loved Dee Dee.
How do you not remember this? Come on, now.
Dude, there's so much to remember about shit. I mean, also, Powerpuff Girls. I'm trying to think of all the stuff that we actually watched.
Him, Mojo Jojo.
Loved Mojo.
Gangoon Gang.
Also,
which also
I
is
don't know if you
very
remember when they started doing like Cartoon Network ads where like cartoons were singing real life songs.
Yeah.
And then Mojo Jojo sang that song.
Everybody
wants to rule the world. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But also they play that too much. I mean, it turned into like MTV
they
/ Cartoon Network.
Like ads, though.
They did. That's something that I hated about Cartoon Network is when they were selling ads, bro.
But hey, man,
that's just how it ended up, I guess.
I am Weasel and Count Chicken.
I am Weasel. Those are also very weird to watch, to be quite honest.
Again, same.
Ooh, for the old kiddies, Megas XLR.
Yeah, but
we love giant robots. You love giant robots. I love giant robots. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Nice. Damn.
I mean, they were pretty cool with the truck. They could transform.
Yeah, I had a crush.
Max,
maybe this was my first sign that I should have known I was queer as fuck. But the hun in Megas XLR, the redhead,
yeah,
with the ponytails and like the robot suit with the titties. Yeah. What can we say? We all love titties. I don't know why I needed to say that. Jesus Christ. What were we talking about?
Megas XLR, we're talking about.
Yes, you're talking about Megas. Fastest Home for Imaginary Friends.
Fastest Home, yeah, okay.
What's Blue's? Is it brother? The yellow one, the dumb one. What's his name? Cheese?
He likes cheese.
Isn't his name Cheese?
He says I like cheese.
That's me. Me core.
Okay.
Anyways, that's me. I feel like if I was any character, it would be I'm cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Cheese or Coco.
Coco's random as fuck though, so I fuck with
Yes. And Coco was crazy, and I'm not gonna say she because they were also gender fluid as fuck. They shat eggs with presents in them.
her.
That's giving very me core. Not that I shit eggs with presents, but like
Random as fuck.
you know, it's giving the saying, it's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits.
Fair.
Don't you just love English? Anyway, carry on. Who do you identify with from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? I would assume Will, because he's the tall one.
Such a like over. That's like such a weird like, you know.
Yes.
Like, just because I'm tall, I'm little. Like.
Also, actually, do you know who I also identify with?
Who?
The grandmother. Because she was resourceful and she was a badass. She could fuck someone up.
Well, I mean, she was the one who was really helping when shit was going wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Miss Foster.
Yeah.
Grandma Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever her name was. Also, that house was banging. Like, it had every room. Like, how the fuck did that lady afford that? That was definitely government money. You can't tell me anything.
I feel like I was just imagination in and of itself. If a place to house imaginary friend surely has to be imaginative. It has to foster.
Don't make me think deeply about.
But how can imaginary creatures live in?
I can see them, so they're no longer imaginary. They're no longer imaginary, okay?
They pay taxes now. They have children.
They don't pay taxes because, as much as you can see them, they don't have government names. They don't have government documents.
But they're real.
They all live in one house, occupied by a. What's the word when old people retire?
What do you mean retire?
When old people are retired, they called pensioners. There we go.
Okay.
They're living on pensioners' land, bro. The government can't tax them.
Okay, yeah.
Wow, we talk about imaginary friends taxed.
But I mean,
That's so stupid. Wow. You see how we corrupt as kids, guys. Anyway, we watch shit.
I mean, I could get into a bunch of things. I could just name things.
Name things and then we'll see what sticks.
Okay, well, first off, Benton. Icon Benton.
Oh no.
It was just the art style alone was very vibey.
I had a crush on Kevin 11, the second round of the second version of Ben 10.
She's talking about Alien Force.
Yeah, I had a crush on Kevin 11 only because again, long hair, but looked like a man because of a big ass chest. What can I say?
That's the giveaway.
That's the giveaway.
That's the one. I don't know. This is a very rare one. Generator X. You won't know it. I don't think you know
Why
it.
does that sound familiar?
It does sound familiar, but I doubt you'll remember it. But it is in the same era as Alien Force. Yeah.
This is when Cartoon Network started changing its like aesthetic.
Aesthetic, yes,
perspective.
but decline, no. Not what it is currently now. Because at that point, there were still really good shows.
There's
like
no Cartoon
Batman.
Network now, bro. They closed that bitch.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like when it was like horrendous. Like horrendous.
Explain.
So, for example, there weren't any great or like you could kind of say edgy, bordering on the boundary shows, like because like obviously the original Cartoon Network is a bit unhinged with things that they did show. And
I feel
whatnot.
like they had no mandate for like censorship or like guideline for what kids were supposed to watch back then. We were just traumatizing each other and traumatizing ourselves because it was pretty colors that were in a cartoon.
But at the same time, it's like that was just creative, I feel, and then it was very entertaining at the time, and it was not so formulaic or very uninterested and just like very like lame to watch.
True.
Even if like, because most of the time when you think of like kids media and stuff like that, you'd probably think it'd be like very visually stimulating, among other things, because obviously kids aren't like going to one thorough in-depth storylines that they can understand and like keep together. But when some of that is sprinkled in or sewn in so that you experience a second watch when you come back to it and you actually discover more of it in depth. That's kind of like the thing that really makes a good TV show.
True.
I feel for like children's programs, whereas now it's kind of just visual vomit with mundane storylines, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. I feel like the mandate is that the more bizarre the visuals are, the more basic the writing can be, because people don't really care about what they're listening to. They just want to be stimulated visually in some bizarre ass way, because like we were saying in the last episode, that anime has that like artistic freedom where they can push the boundary of what people see visually, because it's of its aesthetic nature. Do you know what I mean? It's part of like the thread that makes anime so particular and unique. They can push that boundary. But also with normal animation, with Western animation, there is that limit of like, people don't want to see extreme taboo things, but they want to see some weird shit though.
Weird within reason.
Weird that's digestible.
Yeah, something that's not like an utter like shock, or like they'll be concerned, not just for them but the people around them as well.
Exactly.
That watched it.
Exactly. What would be your, if you could identify a TV show from Cartoon Network that resonates with you now, that also resonated with you back when you were a kid, when you first started watching, what show would that be and why?
I have a couple though. I don't know, just one, I feel.
Talk.
So, okay. So, regular show, right?
Okay.
Regular show
Good
is...
one.
The thing is, right, like, regular show's plot is not that difficult to understand in terms of these guys work at a park, there's weird shit that happens in every single episode that's just taken up to 11. If your breath stinks and you take too many mints, you might cause a snowstorm type shit. There's a burger that's served every 100 years, only one time limited, and once it's gone, it's gone. So it'll take a lifetime, like stuff like that. Also, like the way that they closed that show off, like towards the end, they were starting to get like not just development of the animation and it looking a lot more cleaner, and like just not as, there was more story to the bizarreness, whereas like one time it's just, I want to go see Fist Pump and some giant coffee bean is going to squirt coffee out of his tits. And so yeah, it was just like getting to a point of, oh, we're in space now, space park, and also Pops is a moon, and also Pops dies, and so sad.
And also Pops is like this magical fucking seventh dimensional being that has like a lifetime of life stories, but we only know him as Pops because that's all they give us at the beginning. It's a very weird, like, I loved regular show, but like you said, there was a moment where it was just absurdity for the sake of being absurd without any storyline or like narrative.
No,
and I feel like that's where I dropped off, because I feel like I can't see absurd shit without a reason.
But that was the start of it though. I feel that wasn't, because remember, like I said, it was later on where they started to have a story with it, where it made more sense, not like later off. So because you think about it, like you think about like the unicorns with the race car and how they were giving Rigby unicorn slop, which whatever that is crazy. Unicorn slop. They don't specify, but they just say unicorn slop.
If we had to assume what the
we
slop
know what it is. We know what it is. Everybody knows what it is.
I'm torn between two things.
You can keep those two things. You can keep those two things.
Period.
They took gumballs out of Benson, and the thing is, when Benson drops his gumballs, it's implied as a lot of things. So yeah, a very interesting one there.
Did he lose his kids or lose his mind?
I have no idea. But that gumball dispenser is implied to be like
his nuts.
Yeah. So I don't exactly know what they're eating exactly, but
they were eating his nuts.
I don't know. They're getting his gumball. They were
it doesn't make it better. They were eating his gumballs. They were chewing his gumballs.
They were munching his gumballs.
They were chewing
their gumball munches.
Gum.
But then there's also Adventure Time, because Adventure Time was very, like, the story and the tragedy and like the small bits of it was really like, it was dark, but also the messages were so like really good. Also, that was also like one of the plot lines of like queer like media as well, because do you know that Marceline and Princess
Okay, again, this makes so much sense because again, Marceline was one of those cartoon characters that I was like, I don't know why I'm weirdly
She's
drawn
with
to
Princess
this.
Bubblegum.
You can't tell me Marceline wasn't the icon of little queer goth girls everywhere and emo girls everywhere.
I mean, yeah, she was.
Because she was that for me.
No, she was vibes. She was vibes. Every time when she first gets introduced, like, hey, this tree belongs to me. And like, cool, bet. They find a new place. It's like,
Also,
oh, shit.
her voice when she sang, mesmerizing.
Bro, the first song when she gets introduced when the boys are getting kicked out. Yeah, I remember it all the time. Marceline, why are you so mean? I'm not mean, I'm 1,000 years old and I just lost track of my moral code. Marceline, can't you see these guys are in pain? No, I can't. I'm too busy playing with this cute video game. No, yeah, boys, yeah, that one. Also, BMO is so vibes.
Oh my
BMO's
god,
energy is just
this
vibes.
BMO is literally in my mood all the time. There's this video of BMO that like takes me out, literally sends me to the ground laughing, like cackling out loud. Basically, like the caption is BMO risks it all just to live, and basically like BMO's like in the middle of the living room, and he takes out like batteries and he like places them in a certain way, and then he turns around. He pulls his own batteries out, and like obviously now he's dead, so he falls back on the batteries
yeah.
and wakes up, and I'm like, you risked it all to see it. What if you fell back, BMO, and one of the batteries just like slipped and like flew?
But he knows that Finn and Jake got him though. He knows.
But
though.
imagine, dude,
No, but he knows, like-
imagine. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna come back just now, watch me. And then he goes, ta, ka.
But at the same time, he won't feel it though, because he's already activated from the top.
But BMO's out.
Playing with life.
That's what takes me out, is that like BMO's playing with this.
No, but he knows though. He knows. Because logically speaking, I feel like
And that
Jake.
gives me recall. Like,
So do you remember Nectar?
Nectar?
I don't think it's Nectar. Was it Nectar? It was the little robot that throws pies that Jake invented. No, Finn invented to Jake because Jake pranked him with Nepter. So,
The one that calls him father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So creator.
Oh,
He
creator.
does call him father, but yeah. So Jake throws a big bag of butter. Take that alliteration. And at
A
Finn,
big bag of butter.
big ass bag of butter.
A big ass bag of butter.
Yeah, no, it was very, very, very vibes. Also, Cinnamon Bun is a very random character who gets depth.
No, Peppermint has depth, bitch.
You mean Peppermint Butler? No, I'm talking about.
Yes, Peppermint Butler. The way
He's
that
evil.
like he's evil. What the fuck?
But he's evilly just at the same time, because if he was truly evil, he'd probably like want to doom the Candy Kingdom. But he's evil within reason, because he's still like. He doesn't interfere too much. Like he's not going against like Finn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's like affiliated with a lot of evil.
Also, why are we forgetting the best character ever? Unacceptable!
Lemon Grab story is also fucked up. When he gets split into two people, and then the one eats the other brother, and then Lemon Hope has to free him, and then afterwards like, oh,
Lemon Hope?
Yeah.
Okay, is that the one with the white jumpsuit?
No. Well, Lemon Hope's a completely different character.
See,
The white jumpsuit is the other Lemon Grab.
Okay.
How do you not know this one though? This is so basically Lemon Hope, right? Because there's a whole lemon society.
I know that.
So you should know Lemon Hope because in that
A bunch of sour bitches.
Yeah. So basically, Lemon Hope doesn't like he plays the flute because remember I wanted like the dinners.
Is that the green one?
Green one? There's no green one.
Okay.
They're all
never
yellow.
mind.
They're lemons. What do you mean? There's no unripe lemons.
Okay.
Anywho, so at the dinner, right? And like someone plays music, and then Lemon Grab doesn't like the music, like have stop it immediately, and then they put on a show for them, and it's like so fucked up because it's like there's just guys hitting themselves and shit, and there's like this small little lemon who's just like screaming. He has like their eyes closed, he's just screaming, and then like they open their lemon thing and have like giant eyes and they're screaming. And And then you just get Lemon grabbed like, oh, yes, oh, great, that's, yeah. And he's like in ecstasy, and I'm like, okay, very interesting. And so, like,
That's
there's
just nasty.
but there's the fucked up part about it is when Lemon Hope comes back, when he's eaten his brother and everything, and he plays the music again. He's like, I have things in my ears, I can't hear you, or whatever. And then, like, the brother inside is still alive, right? So he's like, Lemon Hope, don't worry about them. I'll take out the earbuds. You just play your thing. And then Lemon Grab thinks he's speaking. He's like, I told you, I already have things in my ears. And then he takes him, and then like, once he gets like the earbuds taken out of him, he puts his own hand, his whole arm, down his throat and tries to like get it back from. And he like he's barely able to reach it. And I'm like, damn. That throat action is mad. Like,
wow!
like, that's
Out
crazy.
of all the ways the story could have gone, that's how you end it with that throat action though.
No, but it was so weird though, because it's like,
My brother, ladies and gentlemen.
like his whole forearm was just like there. I'm like, that's mad.
Yo,
And then he exploded after hearing music.
what that throat do? Our whole fucking arm, boy.
Yeah, and then,
That is acceptable, lemon grab.
but yeah, no, it was very, very fucked up. Also, like, how Flame Princess and Finn they liked each other, but they were destructive, both to each other, and like.
Listen, the storyline between Finn and Flame Princess,
Flame Princess.
I didn't need to know about toxic relationships that early in life, to be honest with you.
Hey man, it was development. It was development, and then also, like I said, Cinnamon Bun, right?
Cinnamon Bun.
He gets development from Flame Princess.
Oh yeah, because doesn't he become like a quote-unquote evil henchman?
No, he becomes like a subordinate helping the kingdom because she's trying to rule the kingdom better
Damn.
for her people.
T.
He's just choosing to do what he wants now. And he's always like shown like with the flame protector spell, you know, the one that turns you blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, like henchman vibes.
So server.
Damn.
Henchman is more like your grunts. You know what I mean?
Also, we have to talk about the misadventures of Flapjack.
Marvelous Misadventures.
The marvelous misadventures of
What am I
Flapjack.
saying? The Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack, as it's called. We could have talked about Chowder, but it's because it's like the same vibe.
Oh my god. Okay, guys. Top 3 for me. Flapjack, Chowder. And then I have to give it to an original one. So I'm going to give it to... I'm going to give it to Powerpuff Girls. Sorry, I'm a gay like that. But like, between Chowder and Flapjack, Chowder was the dumb, the stupid, the colorful, the funny, the stupid, like, sexual double entendre jokes. Rada.
The fourth wall breaking.
Rada. Purple Nurples.
Yeah, we knew.
Panini being in love with Chowder. A bread being in love with soup. Mung Dal.
Oh yeah. Schnitzel
Going rada. I love Schnitzel. So okay, Chowder was the bright, the colorful, I just want to lose my mind in some dumb shit right now. I swear to God. Also, the graphics on Chowder, if we had to watch it now as like adults on like some really strong edibles, you would have an amazing fucking time. You're damn welcome. Number 2, The Misadventures of Flapjack. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Marvelous Adventures.
The Marvelous Adventures.
I swear, it's just.
I feel like there's a myth something.
The Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack. There's no.
The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
I'm telling you, bro. There's no misadventures.
Tell us in the comments, is it the Marvelous Adventures or is it the Marvelous Misadventures? I feel like it was the Misadventures.
You know what, Naya? I feel like it's supposed to sound like it fits, but it doesn't, though. That's the
Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
So,
anyway.
Captain Knuckles and Bubby.
Firstly, Bubby is the cutest name ever.
For
From
whale.
the first time that I heard like Flapjack refer to the whale as Bubby. Sign me the fuck up, babes. Sign me the fuck up. 2, Flapjack was so uncomfortable. It wasn't scary. It was uncomfortable, and that's why I loved it. It was the proper like introduction at a little bit of an older age where I was a bit more aware of like how dark the cartoon was, that was my first step into like the interest of being interested in the macabre.
Like with the fake whale, the whale episode when they're like racing and it's like the children are shoveling coal to fuel the whale. Child labor.
I'm just thinking of the fucking barber.
Dr. Barber.
Dr. Barber. I'm thinking of Dr. Barber. I'm thinking
Dr.
of
Barber was really messed up. Like the hypnotized scene. No, he hung someone on the top. That one. He just put some guy. He's like he got some guy up there on like a bar, and then like he's poking the guy, and Captain Canuck's just staring at his tits, and he's like hypnotize.
No, that thing was just
Candy
creepy.
wife. Candy wife.
Candy wife. No, guys.
I mean that name in of itself is like an illusion. Candy wife. And how Peppermint Butler. What is his name? It's not Peppermint Butler. What am I saying?
Peppermint Larry?
Peppermint Larry. I think it's Peppermint Larry, yeah. Peppermint Larry, he's always just worrying about Candy wife. And like Candy wife got into a fight with Candy wife. And he's always trying
Candy
to please
wife is
Candy
apparently
wife.
always talking, but we can't hear Candy wife.
And how Captain Knuckles likes Candy wife. Because of course he does.
Of course, Captain Knuckles likes every woman that gets
Also, the
invented.
overindulgence of sugar as alcohol being portrayed.
Well, think about it. Like the cartoon is set in a time probably like again like very early before everything, and probably like the things that they are fighting are like scurvy because the Captain Knuckles is basically like a fucking zombie walking around, and so like sugar, alcohol are basically like syntax necessities. Like you only like get a little bit of it and it becomes like this like almost like gold, you know what I'm saying? So it is expensive, so it is something to desire. Also, this is a fucking cartoon. Like they're not gonna make money like the most precious like trade currency. They're gonna make it something stupid like candy.
But that's not the currency though. Candy isn't the currency. They bought candy to have candy.
Fair.
They didn't use candy as currency. Although the Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack, right? It's kind of like One Piece in terms of like you're going to Candy Island. Because come with me so we can go see Candy Island.
A place called Candy Island. Who needs Candy Island? It's safer on the docks. When they ain't.
Yeah, you don't remember the rest, do you?
Go trickling down the rocks.
Do you remember the episode with
It's
the pie?
dangerous and risky, but adventurous and free. Adventure, that's the life for me. The Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack. Yeah.
The Marvelous Adventures of Flapjack.
The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
I'm telling you. I'm still telling
Again,
you.
guys, you need to settle this debate. You need to settle this debate.
It's the Marvelous Adventures, I'm telling
For
you.
real, for real.
I'm telling you. But anyway, so, do you remember the pie episode? There was someone living in Bubby's stomach, deeper in Bubby's stomach, who thrived on pies.
How are they getting pies?
Because Bubby was eating pies. Because
From where?
Bubby smelled pies in the ocean. From the ocean, right? Found someone, put her whole tongue inside like the room and swallowed the pies. After having one on the windowsill, and then she ate.
Bobby does some whack shit like that. I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Damn. Okay.
But yeah. Also, that's like that really rich ass lady, like with the Victorian style.
Yes, I remember that one.
Oh, that one with the with the bubble.
I remember the episode with the sea urchins, the orphan kids that like fuck people up and stole their money.
Yeah.
Wow, the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack was.
I like the one with the legs. The legs one where like the Knuckles finds really big legs in the ocean, and then they find out like we see the person who has the legs. It's like this really like big like muscular like person.
Yeah.
But they're female.
Dope.
And it's like you have my legs. But like you don't hear it, and then when the torso attaches to the legs, then the voice kicks in. You're like, oh, crazy.
That's crazy.
And so she's using like Knuckles' legs from that point. So that's really funny.
What would you say is Cartoon Network's downfall?
Downfall. censorship. I feel
Censorship.
of an ideas and
Ads.
I mean, ads was such like ads was bad, but I feel like ads were worth it because at least what you were watching was interesting. When you are watching something with ads and it's boring, like how it died out,
Yeah.
that's where it's just like, okay, no.
Also, do you know what I didn't understand about ads is that like they did ads for themselves. So I'm already watching your show. I'm already watching your network, but you're like overstimulating me with ads to watch the channel. I would assume rather send those ads to like other broadcasters so that they can come into like Cartoon Network, right? But essentially you're like over advertising the thing that I'm already engaged with. Does that make sense?
But that's kind of what happened with a lot of shows, though, monetization. Because it's like, yes, these shows aren't like, these are just cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it shouldn't be hard to just watch cartoon after cartoon. But at the same time, it works so that there isn't overstimulation in terms of the fact that it's not just cartoon after cartoon after cartoon. Because
I just think it's bad programming.
so the alternative would be what? Watching cartoon after cartoon.
Like, except like the way they did it was like almost like episode 17 ads that make up about like 2 minutes, 3 minutes of just ads between the shows, between the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like I'm trying to think now. Like they did something cool when they did the music videos where like the villains did songs.
Okay.
Like
For
the
Power
Mojo Jojo
Rangers.
thing made
Okay.
sense because at least they didn't do ad after ad after ad into a new show, right? They made it in such a way where it was like show, imaging ad, music video of villains, imaging ad, next show. I still like it's not overstimulating, but they're still making enough advertising that like, okay, cool, you're watching Cartoon Network, you've said Cartoon Network a couple of times, showing Cartoon Network like imaging. But what I'm saying is they did it kind of shit because they would do like 17 imaging ads and then still put the music video in and then still put some other bullshit in between and then only start a new show.
Fair enough. I feel like they were just trying to fill space and get more watch time or something like that.
Comparatively to like Disney Channel at the same time, like their transition between shows was show would end, there would be like that like screen of like what's gonna come next.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be imaging ad, which would be like one of their teens being like, and you're watching Disney Channel, like drawing that stupid ass Disney, drawing the Disney logo. And then it would be like an ad for a new show or whatever, and then they would move straight on to the next show. Like there wasn't space in between for like shit. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel like their downfall was in terms of like ads in general. I feel like they didn't have a tight enough programming schedule. Look at me talking about programming. Skr. But like, yeah, I feel like if they had a tighter programming like kind of system and schedule and like clock, it would have been so much better. It would have been more engaging. Also, they had the audience. They had the group, so they didn't need to do that much. They didn't need to overcomplicate their clocks. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason they did. And I feel like that was the fucked up part.
I mean, it's still not as bad as like ETV ads.
That's fair.
ETV ads are crazy. It's like
No hate to
half an hour or like an hour worth of ads in between programs. So it would wrap up and start again while you were still watching program. But that's ETV. We're on Cartoon Network. So one thing that I like about Cartoon Network is that one time Cartoon Network got hacked, right?
Okay.
And so this was during one of the new series came out, which was Amazing World of Gumball when it first started coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the episode played out as normal, and it was like just before Gumball and Penny were about to kiss or something in space or whatever. And as soon as that happens, the first the first part of a Call of Duty campaign game is played, where it's like, "Come, my brothers, we have to defeat the army," or whatever. And it's like it goes straight into like a battlefield type thing. And I'm like, that's so funny because I knew exactly where it was from too. And I'm like, I wonder what the kids that are like just like fresh out the womb are thinking about like a whole revolution and like tanks and like, you know, gunfire and action.
But then that
It's
would...
very...
Okay, no, I just try to think of like how technical that would be, and it's clearly that like something was playing and then they just hacked into the actual like playout system and just connected it. Okay. That's fucked up and kind of cool too. Like, can you imagine that? Like, obviously you're not going to tell everyone because you might get like locked up, obviously. But imagine you be the person that's like, oh yeah, I was the one that hacked into Cartoon Network and played COD for like a few seconds.
For the memes, because I feel like
before they kicked me the fuck out.
a lot of kids that were playing like online games like COD and like, yeah, a lot of kids that were like playing online games and like COD and like all these like video games like early on, like on PS2 and like PS3, Xbox 360, stuff like that, like were Cartoon Network watchers. And that's why I feel like that also kind of transcends into like the media as well. Not as heavy as it does now with like fandoms and stuff being added to certain games with either skins or packaging and monetization and all that, but like just in terms of the groups together having like this connected gateway, like, oh, you like this, you probably like this too, probably from this community, because some jokes like kind of
transcend shows.
Yeah, they transcend the mediums.
Yeah. I hear. Well, I guess we're gonna call it there. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. Thank you for allowing me to re-record this episode. Let's hope and pray, fingers crossed, that the audio is so much better now. All full disclosure, the problem with the audio before was that the distortion was so bad. But let's hope that it was better now. Hopefully, yeah. What do you think of the podcast so far? Because you've been one of the most avid listeners. Honestly, let me tell you the real story. I put the podcast out. I had no feedback. You told me that you liked the podcast, and I just said, fuck everyone, as long as you like it, I don't give a fuck. So, like, honest opinions, what do you think of the podcast so far? Since you are literally on episode 7. Also, sorry, Pin, I just want to say one more thing. I know that I've been, like, saying, oh no, this is going to be a visual, like, podcast. Guys, I'm going to hit that visual aspect in season 2. When I figure out this audio situation first, because that's been the biggest struggle right now. So when I fix that, I'll definitely go into visual episodes. And I feel like what I'm going to do is that episodes are going to be separated by the number that it starts with. So season 1 will be from 1 to 19, and then episode 2 will be from 20 to 29.
So it's like a transition.
Yeah, so the higher we go, basically the longest season you're going to have is season 1. Because this is the transition into what it could possibly be into. Basically, back to the question, Unpin. What do you think of the podcast so far?
Well, it's vibes. Like, it's not anything that's like mundane, and like it's exciting, it's fun, you know, just to hear you like talk about what's on your mind and just like get your ideas and your narratives across. I feel like that's very vibes, you know. Also,
thank you.
You know, just imprinting your vibes out in the world so more people who can see it.
I appreciate that. That's cool. That's cheesy as fuck.
No, but at the same time, it's like not everybody gets to, like, you know, the vibes need to be experienced. I feel like that enlightenment, it needs to be spread, if that makes sense, you know.
That means a lot. Thank you. Anyway, speaking of imparting wisdom, do you have any parting words for your end of this podcast, of this episode?
Parting wisdom. You can learn a lot from media despite its visual appearance, and whether or not it appeals to you might have a deeper contrast than just it being targeted at a certain audience. And
that's on semiotics. Anyway, we'll call it a day. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for taking the time. And until next time, bye.
Peace.
LOL.